Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel God Will Do It For You. My name is Steven and I hope everyone's having a great day so far. And what we're going to be talking about today is when you feel like giving up. And again, I'm giving you these topics based off of current life events and just how I feel as well, so that way I can give you authentic messages and just make sure that you understand that I'm being vulnerable on these videos and I'm a human being. So don't ever think that, oh, well, he's talking about God and things like that, but I don't ever have certain feelings in my mind as well. You know, I just don't believe anybody ever just thinks like, you know what, you know, and then, you know, not have certain feelings that come across their mind or certain thoughts or things like that. And so, you know, just recently this past weekend, looking at the world and what's going on, and it's kind of funny how YouTube didn't push that last video I pushed, but that's all right. God will handle that. But just looking at everything, and then just also just doing the job that I have to do. You know, I get to drive around and see how people are living, and it made me feel a little down because I'm like, man, it's the weekend and they're able to be off and enjoy time at home. And I've literally been working every day for over a year now. The only 2 days that I've had off were Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's because there was no business available on those days. But otherwise, I've had to work every single day, because if I take a day off, it's gonna hurt the household financially because we need every dime that's coming in. And it hit me. I'm like, man, I'm so limited. You know, it's great that I got full custody of my son, but now I'm starting to understand all the limitations that come with it. You know, not being able to just work any job, not being able to work 2 jobs if I wanted to try to get extra money, not being able to, you know, just do anything that you kind of need to in order to do more. And that's because I have to be concerned about my son. I have to make sure that he has a regular schedule and school starts next week for him. So I have to make sure we get back to routine on that. You know, he likes to do sports, so with BMX, bike racing, and basketball now. So making sure there's time for that. And so there's limits on exactly what I can do. And when I think about other family members that I have that don't have their children full time, they're able to do that and they're financially doing really well. It's actually a blessing, because times that I've needed their help, they've been able to help. But I'm like, man, you know, God, I'm doing the right thing. I'm not doing anything wrong out here. And I'm not ungrateful. So I want to make sure people understand that it's not that I'm ungrateful, but am I satisfied? Am I happy with current circumstances? I'm not happy, because I do wish that it were better. And I do feel like that is an okay thought, because I understand this is just a current circumstance. It's not the final circumstance of how it's going to be forever. But I do sometimes get down in the dumps about that, and I'm like, you know, I just wish that I could be more for my son. I just wish I could do more. And I have these endeavors that I'm working on, you know, my food business and my music. And the crazy thing is I have so much confidence in my food that I know if I fed it to anyone that's watching this video, you would like it. It's actually really good. I've never had a bad critique about it. I've sold it. I got the food business legalized. Same thing with my music. I'm like, my music actually sounds really good. Like it's really hard to differentiate it from Spotify quality, except I know that they have thousands and thousands of dollar equipment. That's the only difference. But otherwise, my technique is there, my skill is there. The only thing that I don't have is the time to do it all day. And so when I look at these things, I'm like, God, you've given me talents. You've given me things that can be profitable, but they're not profitable that could benefit the household right now. Again, it's just like, you know, I just want better for me and my son. I want better for anybody that I would be attached to. And so I always re-encourage myself, because sometimes I somehow, some way, I always get like this, and then I re-encourage myself, almost like the story of David when the Philistines came and raided their camp, and how him and his soldiers were down in the dumps when they saw their things were destroyed and their wives were taken. And it said David encouraged himself because sometimes you don't have your church next to you. Sometimes it's not Sunday. Sometimes you're not going to always have that friend that's going to understand what's going on. And you have to re-encourage yourself and always go into the word, which we go to Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, in which everybody knows this famous verse. But it says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. In other versions, it says, faint not. And I hold on to that because I'm like, what if I give up on these things and just like, I'll go back and work a regular job, and granted, I won't be happy, but at least, we can try to live something. And even now, the jobs don't even pay what you really need. So you'll still be working overtime and things like that. So I'm like, what if I give up on these talents? What if I give up and I was actually closer than I realized to things coming into fruition? And that's the only thing that keeps me going, because it's one thing that if I'm doing these things and I'm not that good at it, and I'm just like, if I keep working at it, now I'm actually good at it, and I can see the progress, I can hear the progress, I can taste the progress in my food. And when I see these things and experience these things, it makes me like, I can't give up. I'm like, again, when I look at people that have made, heck, Morgan Freeman didn't really start popping in his acting career until his 50s. A lot of people don't know that. They just know he has a nice speaking voice. But Morgan Freeman didn't start popping until his early 50s with his acting career. And I'm like, think if he would have gave up. Denzel Washington talks about how many times he was looked down on and skipped and nose until he finally got that one yes, and he took advantage of it. But what if he would have gave up? All these really good movies that we get to watch with him would be there. Same thing, Tyler Perry said he was doing his acting he was doing his plays for 7 years, and nothing was really happening except just basically earning sometimes, not even all the time, but sometimes enough money to be able to pay the people that were in the plays, but that's about it, no profit. And now look at him. Same thing with Steve Harvey. Same thing with just other actors like Viola Davis. You have all these great actors out here. Look at the story of Lady Gaga, how they were picking on her in college, and how they were saying that she wasn't going to succeed, and now look at her. When you look at these people that never gave up, and they just kept working at it until that time came. That's why they always say that at the perfect time, in God's time, things will happen. And so that's how I always encourage myself. One, I stick to this word because I believe that it's true. Farmers have to believe that it's true even if they aren't biblically in the Bible. But it's the same thing. They have to plant the seed and wait for the harvest. It's not like they plant the seed and it comes the next day. That would be pretty cool. But they have to wait. They have to be patient. And then when the harvest comes, they're able to pick it and then replant more seeds. And so for me, that's just what I believe in. I'm like, I have to keep going. I can't give up. And two, I've invested so much money in everything. I'm like, man, it would really be like the total slap in the face. Like, man, I wasted a lot of money if I just give up now. And I also just look at how many people that it can inspire if I'm successful, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people that think about giving up, not only just in their dreams, but on life. They're like, or giving up on God and be like, he's not real, he's never going to come through, whatever the case may be. And I always just look at the positive impact of the people that persevere and just keep going and keep pushing. It's hard. It really is. It's hard because you don't know what's going on. You don't know if anything's ever going to happen. But all you can do is keep going forward and wait and see. So my encouragement is, when you get down in the dumps, open up your Bible, go to your favorite Bible verse that encourages you, and just remember that God is faithful, and that if it is His will and in His time, He will do what He says He's going to do for you. And I truly believe that if I stick out with what I'm setting my mind to, that something good is going to come from this. I just have to weather it out and just keep having faith, keep hoping, keep believing, so that way one day I can say it was worth it. I can say it was all worth it, because that's what I said when I got custody of my son. It was 3.5 years of patience. And then when I set out to do the process, it took just like 3 months to get them. And so, and I remember when the judge awarded custody, I said it was all worth it. Because all those times that I didn't think that documenting everything and, just being there and doing what I was supposed to do and telling myself, you know what, I may not have full custody of him, but I'm going to act like I have custody of him. We have to do the same thing. It's like, hey, we may not have the dream, we may not have the promise, but we need to move like we already know what's about to happen. It could happen tomorrow. We need to keep moving like, you know what, we could be one day away from a breakthrough. And even if it doesn't happen, you just keep having that same attitude. But guess what? It wasn't yesterday, but it could be tomorrow. It wasn't today, it could be the next day. Whatever the case may be, do whatever you need to do to stay encouraged. Because it's so easy to give up. It's so easy to give up. But it takes effort and it takes hard work to keep going. So just remember that. I hope this was a blessing. I hope this helps you, because God knows we're all going through it out here. Just eliminate what's going on in the world, because there's a lot of funny mess, and just focus on God. Focus on what you believe in. Focus on His will for your life, and just know that He who promises is faithful. So again, until next time.